Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Thursday, January 27th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. As a reminder, here on 3 News Now, these are the stories that most of you are clicking on, that are being read the most on WKYC.com. So these are the stories that you have chosen to hear about today. Let's start off with the cold weather. It is a cold one right now, and it was especially cold this morning. So cold, in fact, that there was a wind chill advisory in effect this morning. That was through at least 11 a.m. Lows with the wind chill as possible as negative 15 degrees. That's very cold. So today, Avon Lake City Schools, Brecksville, Broadview Heights, Lakewood City Schools, and Rocky River City Schools all canceled classes for today. Other school districts already called off classes for today and tomorrow, getting ahead of it because it is quite chilly. Dr. Robert Hughes with University Hospital says that if you don't have to brave the cold, the most important thing is to not do it. And also, if you do have to get out there, to layer up. He says frostbite to exposed skin can set in under 30 minutes. 30. That is very quick. Also, Greg Liley with Friendship APL in Elyria reminds us that if you don't feel good in the weather, your pet doesn't either. So be careful with that. And watch those paws, too. I know my little Harry Winston does not like to have his paws out on that cold snow and ice for very long at all. And you have to watch out for that salt. That can be really hurtful to those little paws out there. So keep that in mind. Now, a lot of people are wondering about those free N95 masks that are supposed to come from the federal government and where you can get those. Well, the first place they seem to have landed here in Northeast Ohio was at Meijer yesterday. Our 3 News team went to the Meijer location in Menor, and while they were there, they were able to get a limit of 3 per person. There wasn't any process. You just walked in and you grabbed them. Here's what we're looking at with availability for other places. CVS said its stores will have them, including locations inside of Target, today. And they will be posting, about availability. Walgreens is expected to have them tomorrow on Friday. They'll use signs to let you know if they're available. Discount Drug Mart is waiting for delivery of its mask. It's got 76 Ohio community locations, so waiting on that. And Walmart says the mask will be available by the second week of February in the front of its stores and also at Sam's Club locations. So what we're looking at today, Meijer locations and CVS locations. By the end of the week, hopefully Walgreens as well. That's what's expected. You're going to have to wait a bit on the Discount Drug Mart and the Walmart locations. Now, today, there was a press conference from the Ohio Department of Health. Ohio Director Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff said today that Omicron is hitting Ohio in waves. He said right now, Southeast Ohio, Southern Ohio, and Dayton are seeing increases in hospitalizations. So, in one sense, the state has reached an Omicron peak, but not necessarily depending on where you live. That's very location dependent at this point. He says, however, there is light at the end of the tunnel for us. We are seeing many signs of improvement in Ohio's numbers in the areas that were hardest hit by the Omicron surge of COVID-19 cases. Looking at the hospitals, here's what Dr. Vanderhoff said. Statewide, hospitals reached a pandemic high earlier this month and have been steadily dropping for the last 16 days. Remember, that's statewide, okay? So that is positive. Ohio hit a recorded 6,749 hospitalizations. That was on January 10th. That number has been falling daily, and there's been a 25% drop in just 2 weeks. It's been the steepest in Northeast Ohio, where hospitalizations are falling just as quickly as they went up. He also warned, though, that case rates remain too high to let our guard down here in Ohio when it comes to COVID-19. So let's take a look at those numbers across the state. The Ohio Department of Health today reports 12,100 new COVID-19 cases. Now, this is the first day that things are a bit corrected after a couple days of numbers being a little bit ski-wampus because there was some invalid data submitted by an external facility. That's according to the Ohio Department of Health. So today we have every reason to believe that this is a true number, 12,108 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is at 25.5%. Now remember though, this is the percentage of COVID-19 tests that are coming back positive from the tests that are being reported. At-home tests, mostly not being reported. So keep that in mind with that number. The total number of COVID-19 deaths is now at 32,489 here in the state of Ohio. And right now there are 4,765 people who are hospitalized being treated for COVID-19. Out of those people, 937 of them are being treated in an ICU. Now, Boston Hospital is at the center of a bit of a controversy now because there is a patient that is saying that patient was denied a heart transplant because that patient is not vaccinated against COVID-19. The patient is DJ Ferguson, and DJ's mother, Tracy Ferguson, says this, that her son is not against vaccinations. He's had other immunizations in the past, but his mother, who was also a trained nurse, said that he's been diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. That's an irregular and often rapid heart rhythm, and so he has concerns about the effects of the COVID-19 vaccine. His mother said that he's an informed patient in an interview, and that he wants to be assured by his doctors that his condition won't be worse or fatal with the COVID vaccine. Now, the hospital in Boston, which is Brigham and Women's Hospital, has not commented on this patient's case, citing patient privacy laws, but they did say this. They pointed to a response on the hospital's website that said the COVID-19 vaccine is one of several required immunizations by the U.S. transplant program. That includes a flu shot and a hepatitis B vaccine. So we'll be following that, but that is a story. Though it's out of Boston, that is something that all of you are clicking on today. Obviously, lots of controversy there, lots of different angles to look at that from, and it sounds like a tough situation all around. Now, here in Northeast Ohio, there was another earthquake recorded near East Lake. So that's the third time this has happened this month. There was a 2.1 magnitude earthquake about 3 kilometers northwest of Lakeline. That's in East Lake in Lake County, and that was early this morning. It was registered at a depth of 1.9 kilometers, right around 4 a.m., shortly before 4 a.m. Third one in East Lake, near East Lake this month. There was a 2.8 quake on January 4th, and then a 2.0 magnitude quake less than 24 hours later. Now today, people say that they felt it. They did feel it. Now, if you are one of those people who felt that earthquake, maybe what you actually felt was Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett dropping a weight in the weight room. We do know the man is jacked, right? Well, he posted a photo of himself wearing a jacket with no shirt underneath from a recent photo shoot for Vogue the other day. I believe he posted it on Monday. And then on Tuesday, he got the call for another random NFL drug test. And it's the off season, so that's really interesting, right? So he posted the photo and the screenshot of the text messages that came to him. There were a couple of them because he didn't respond right away. He got one text in the morning, one in the early afternoon, and then again at around 4 o'clock saying, "Hey, Myles, you need to take this drug test, and the people say they can't get a hold of you." He said he was playing some kind of game or something, and the responses to it were pretty funny. One of his teammates made a comment about it, and Garrett said, "Hey, you've got your shirt off more than I do. We need to get you in there." And he said, "No thanks, I'm just passing by." So lots of people having fun with this, and here's what Garrett said. He said, "We need a punch card system on the drug tests. Like every 10 negative tests, y'all got to give us a Bitcoin or pay for a vacation or something." That would be expensive because Bitcoin is down, but it's not super cheap right now. Now, Garrett has had many drug tests. There was a period in the NFL season that he had 3 drug tests over a 4-week period, 3 random drug tests over a 4-week period, and it always seemed to coincide with him showing off his muscles in some sort of way. He did say in October that Sleeveless Myles is retired because he was hoping to not get called in for any of those anymore. But even if he had sleeves on, he did have the abs showing, so he got called in anyway. Now, if you were looking forward to that Machine Gun Kelly bobblehead at a Cleveland Cavaliers game, mark your calendar for April 3rd because that's when it will be here. It was previously supposed to be there on the January 31st game, but there was a supply chain issue, so now they do know it's rescheduled when the Cavs will play the 76ers, and that'll be on Sunday, April 3rd. Also, the people who had tickets to that January 31st game, you will be able to get that bobblehead. The Cavs will have information posted about the pickup process for that. But against the 76ers on April 3rd, people will be able to get that one too. So here's what it will look like. It will be the Cleveland rapper with a black Cavaliers statement jersey. He'll have his pink electric guitar. He'll be wearing earrings, a nose ring, and his iconic pearl necklace. So that is coming on April 3rd. And in the last story of our sports section here today, the Cleveland Guardians have finalized an agreement to extend the Progressive Field lease, and those renovations are scheduled to begin after next season, after the 2022 season. So what this will extend the lease through 2036 and a potential additional 10 years after that, but at least through 2036. It's a public-private partnership. It'll generate about $435 million over the next 15 years. Now, here's the kicker. The agreement was approved by the Cleveland City Council in November. It will not include a tax increase for residents. People are happy about that. So the city and the county are supposed to each contribute $17 million annually. The state will contribute $2 million annually, and the Guardians will contribute $10 million annually. So this will include things like fan-friendly and baseball front office operations improvements and necessary funding for capital repairs, maintenance, gateway operations, and property taxes. Now, speaking of money and where money is coming from, if you've been following along with me on social media, this is week 3 of my social experiment to see if it can pay off to play the Powerball. This is all spun from my New Year's resolution to try and put a dent in my student loans, and you know a lot of us have a lot of student loans, and we kind of feel like we have to go to drastic measures to try and make that happen. So I figured, you can't win if you don't play, right? And I also was curious after we had a big Powerball jackpot just a couple weeks ago. It was one of the top 10 Powerball jackpots. I was curious about how much you actually have to spend in order to win one of those jackpots. You know, the odds of winning one of those jackpots, pretty slim. 1 in some 292 million or something like that. But the odds of winning $4 are 1 in 38 if you match one number. Well, this is week 3 for me, and so far I haven't matched a single number. So if you take into consideration those odds of 1 in 38 matching at least one number and winning that $4, I might not win $4 until September. That's when we would be in week 38 of this thing. So buckle up, my friends. It may be a long ride. We did live stream the drawing last night, right around 11 p.m. on my Instagram page. So make sure you catch that every week. And let me know if you're playing and what you're playing for. I did hear from a couple people on our 3 What's New Facebook group. Barbara Cornuck is trying to play to see if she can't pay off her granddaughter's tuition. Pay it in advance. That's a great strategy rather than the student loans on the back end, like I'm trying to do, like I'm hoping to do. So if you didn't catch them yet, the winning Powerball numbers last night were 4, 11, 38, 49, and 69, and the Powerball was 16. The power play was 3 times, and I did not match any of those numbers. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update today for Thursday, January 27th. Everyone, stay warm out there, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.